Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. Boy, do we have an adventure today, because we've got a house full of people, and I'm real excited about having everybody here. Of course, my name is Kevin McDonald, and this is Positive Talk with me, and I've got some great guests, and this is what we've called Passionistas Monday. It happens twice a month. They're clapping because I actually said it properly, kind of. So Holly has been schooling me on how to do that, and I would like to introduce a wonderful friend of mine who works with us on the show and does some great stuff, and she is the one responsible for bringing everybody here today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Holly Berry. Holly, welcome.
Thank you. Happy Monday, Kevin. It's so nice to be back in the studio with you again and airing live. So not only are we broadcasting live on several social media platforms, we're also monitoring the comments on YouTube as well. So if you're listening live right now to Positive Talk Radio on YouTube and you have questions for Amy or Nancy or Dr. Melissa Bird that you'll be hearing from next, feel free to put them in the chat, and Kevin will do his best to watch for them, pop them up on the screen so we can respond to your questions as we're going along here today. Do you have one of the cool sound effects, Kevin? I always like it when the audience gets like some sort of cool sound effect. There we go. That is going out to you, our awesome listeners. We have over 1 million right now, and we're so pleased to be connected to you. So today we are having our next installment every is it the first and third Mondays? Yeah, first and third Mondays of the month. We bring Amy and Nancy Harrington on from the Passionistas Project, and they in turn bring on one of their Passionistas. And we've had, I think, two or three shows. And so this is our third one. Yeah. So this one is them educating us more about what's going on in their world, more opportunities for you to connect with them, and also introducing Dr. Melissa Bird to you as well. So with that, I'd like to welcome Amy and Nancy Harrington from the Passionistas Project.
Awesome. Love the applause. Hi, everyone. We are Amy and Nancy Harrington. If you don't know us, we are sisters, and that will become more evident as the hour goes on. We are the founders of the Passionistas Project, and we just launched our new sisterhood where women can come and virtually hang out and meet each other and support one another and try to transform their lives and change the world. So we are always happy to be here on Positive Talk Radio, and we're really excited to bring our guest this week, who is Dr. Melissa Bird. Hi, Missy.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
I would like to say she's the magical, marvelous Dr. Melissa Bird.
Oh, thank you.
The triple M.
She is. You just wait. Everybody sit back and wait for the magic.
Oh, no pressure.
No pressure. You know it will happen.
Dr. Bird, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Melissa Bird, and I live in the lovely and fabulous Corvallis, Oregon. And it is from here that I write and speak and talk about using our intuition in our lives to make a difference in the world and in our communities. And I do that through, I have a book, an ebook. I do a lot of writing on Substack, and I'm also part of the Passionistas Sisterhood. So I'm really, really happy to be here with you all.
And then for anyone that's just tuning in for the first time, Amy or Nancy or Dr. Melissa Bird, I'll let you flip a triple-sided coin somehow. Tell our listeners what the Passionistas Sisterhood is.
Sure. So the Passionista Sisterhood is an online community that we created where basically, Nancy and I have been working together for over 20 years. Like she said, we're sisters. We have been best friends since the day we were born, the day I was born. And people are always amazed that we can work together and still love each other so much and enjoy each other's company. And they always say, oh, I could never work with my sister. But then they also say the thing that inspired the sisterhood, which is, I wish I had what you have. Because everybody who knows us knows that we are loyal to each other, we trust each other, we have fun together. And most importantly, as we are off building our business together, we always have someone we can rely on. So the women in our community tend to be women who are building their own business, or they're activists and they're out there on their own, or they're artists and they don't have some corporate structure behind them. And they feel alone and they feel like there's nobody really on their side that really understands them. And our community is a place where you can come to meet other women. You can let it all hang out and be your authentic self. You don't have to pretend you're at some networking event and try and impress people. And there are classes and courses and interviews with inspiring women. There's lots of opportunities to connect and get to know each other and build relationships. And we have a group of women we call our Power Passionistas, who are our resident experts. And they're the women that are really providing the content. So they, starting in a week, we're going to start our first online course that is going to be run by Dr. Melissa Bird. And so Dr. Bird is one of our amazing Power Passionistas, and she's the one that's really going to help guide the sisterhood through this next kind of year's worth of content that we have planned. That's going to be a series of courses that help women find their purpose, tap into their intuition, and transform their lives, and also have a huge social impact on the world. So we'll let Dr. Bird tell you more about her course, which is, we have taken it now. We've watched it several times and it is beautiful, and I get something out of it every single time I watch it. So I can't wait to take it again next week. So Dr. Bird, would you like to tell everybody a bit about it?
Sure. Yes. I don't know, Holly, did you have something else to say?
I kind of did. It was more like a question, but then, yeah, no, go right into it. So I was wondering if you've seen any of their quotes, hashtag sis tips yet, Dr. Bird.
Oh my gosh, I love the sis tips. I love the sis tips because there was one thing of you guys in the car, and I can't remember what y'all were doing, but I was laughing hysterically because it was so funny. But like, I think the idea of a sisterhood is so important, just for what you all were just talking about, what you're talking about, Amy. Like we need a place where we can be very authentically ourselves. And while we have these other spaces where we can do that, there's something really profound about being in this sisterhood and in this circle, because like, I'm not afraid of someone coming back and saying something ridiculous in the comments. And that's always something that is in the, I mean, I really don't care one way or another, but I've gotten so used to people sometimes saying, well, have you tried it this way? Or have you thought about doing this? And that is not what happens in the sisterhood. And there's something really organically rising from that. And I think it comes from this vision of creating sis tips and all these other things, where these opportunities for us to connect at that really beautiful and sacred level as women and as sisters and as a collective community. And I just think it's really powerful. It's really, I will not lie, I had some cautious pessimism, because I was like, sure, there's not going to be one nasty person in there who's like, whatever. But really, like, that has not happened, and I am really happy about it. So I just love everything that y'all are doing with this. And yes, Holly, the sis tips, beautiful. Super fun.
Yeah, with the first time I saw one of those, I was just like, I want to see every cis tip that I can possibly find from them. And then either go ahead and tell the audience, our awesome listeners, you listening to us right now, where they could find cis tips, or if you want to kick it to Amy or Nancy, I would love the world to know where to find cis tips, #cis tips.
The cis tips, #cis tips are mostly on TikTok. We've joined the kids, joined TikTok, and also on Instagram. So you can just #cis tips and you'll see us and our fantastic, lovely tips. Probably the one you were talking about, Missy, had something to do with food. The car ones were the chocolate or the road trip one. Those were good.
Kevin, do you have any idea what we're talking about?
Well, I was just wanted to make sure everybody knew that it is cis tips.
Yes.
SISTIPS.
You have to pronounce that rather carefully, because if you're not careful, anyway.
Hadn't thought about that. Good point.
But,
Yeah, there
a
are
whole other channel. That's a
Fair,
whole
yeah, definitely. The cis tips, CIPS, are our really quick little video snippets of how you can build better relationships based on the principles of sisterhood that Nancy and I have lived our whole lives. So they're just fun little videos that we do.
See, I really want. Oh, I'm sorry, Nancy, but I was just going to say, and then I'll shut up again. I really want this men to get the idea that they can do this too, and we don't by and large have that, because I guess we're too busy arguing with each other, but I just love the fact that there's a place to go where you can get together and feel the community, feel the camaraderie of everybody, and to really lay it all hang out and be honest about it.
You know, Kevin, I actually think what you're saying is so important, because I think creating these very intentional spaces is becoming it's a place that we are craving, and I've seen it for men and for women and for everybody, like to have a place where we can just be very deeply, authentically ourselves without fear of repercussion or criticism is so important, and that's what I love. I think you're right. I think people need these spaces to collectively come together. And it's one of the things that I had to explain to a lot of my straight friends. I was born and raised in Utah, but I'm okay. No, I'm just kidding. You know, growing up there as a bisexual person and being part of the LGBTQ community in Utah, we had these spaces like the gay bars and the places where we would be, the Utah Pride Center and all these spaces. And people had a really difficult time understanding why we were so impacted, like by the targeting of gay bars for, shootings, and people targeting pride parades and, all of these things that happen. And it was so difficult to help people understand why that community is so important to our growth and our well-being. And I think that's why I love what the Passionistas are doing with this sisterhood, because it is a place to foster the growth and well-being of women in a place where we don't have to fear online harassment and criticism for our ideas and the things that we're putting forward. And you'd be surprised at how, like, one of the first things I talk about is dismantling perfection in this series that I'm doing. And you'd be surprised about how many people can be critical of that. Like, what is the point of dismantling perfection? And so I think that this space is so important, and talking about it with all these people is so important, because I want people to really understand that what we're building here with this curriculum and what we're offering with these things. I talk about the art of the graceful revolution. And because I believe that the revolution, while it is important that we protest and we fist pump and we are angry, there's also a revolution that has to take place within us, emotionally and spiritually and physically, where we allow ourselves the permission to love wholeheartedly and to give ourselves the permission to forgive ourselves and forgive other people for that is a revolutionary act to connect with this idea of identifying how perfection has caused us harm. Because when we realize that we are not perfect, that we are actually not meant to be perfect because we are naturally occurring, we're a species of this planet. We're not separate and from the above the planet. We are of the planet. And when we allow ourselves to recognize that we are naturally imperfect beings on purpose because we are part of nature, then that right there is a revolutionary idea and concept, which allows us to be free to just be who we are as human beings. It's extraordinary.
And that is the magic of Dr. Melissa Bird that I was mentioning at the beginning of the hour.
Very well said.
Thank you.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
It looked like on the 22nd, the premium members in your sisterhood, there's a course going on based on the graceful revolution. So for anyone that actually is interested in more of that, like how do they find it? What will they experience? You know, tell us all about this.
Well, you will experience more of the magic of Dr. Melissa Bird, but you just got a little tiny taste of right now. Yeah, it starts next Monday. It's a 3-week course. So every week there will be a new series of videos that you watch on your own pace, and each videos are broken into a set, and each lesson has a workbook that goes along with it, and a thought-provoking question or assignment or soul searching that you need to do after listening to Dr. Bird. And then on every Wednesday of the week, so I think that's the 24th, May 1st, and May 8th, Dr. Bird is holding a 1-hour session with everyone who signed up for the course. So you can ask her questions, you can experience more of her brilliance. And then there'll also be a chat space for everyone who's participating. We'll be posing questions in there and keeping the conversation going. So people who are taking the class can interact with each other as well as Dr. Bird. So it's going to be magical and life-changing. And we hope you can all make it. As premium members, it's included in your membership. This course, along with 5 other courses that we will be offering in the next 12 months. So deal isn't even the right word for it. I don't know if there's super mega awesome deal or something, but you get all of this magicness of Dr. Bird and 5 other Power Passionistas who are offering courses this year, all for the price of your premium membership.
Yeah, we
That's
estimate it's a $10,000 value for $499. So pretty good deal.
It's amazing, and I will tell you, you know, Dr. Bird has been on Positive Talk before, and she's just phenomenal. And I want to thank you, ladies, for bringing her to. But I had something. At 3:00 in the morning, Dr. Bird, I had an epiphany, and I wanted to share it with you and tell me if you think I need medication again. And that is this: we all live collectively in the world. Now there are 24. I believe there are 24 time zones, and there are people that live all over the world, and they live in different time zones, which to me signifies the differences between us. There's lots of us and lots of things and lots of differences. However, anywhere you go in the world, when you're talking about minutes and seconds, it is the same everywhere around the world. So you can say it's 10 minutes past the hour, and it's 10 minutes past the hour everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the connection that we all have together. Does that make any sense, or do I need to be on medication?
Oh, it totally makes sense. I think it's so fascinating when we start to think about how interrelated we are. And this is something I talk about often, is that the reason we forget about our interrelatedness is because it's by design. If we don't remember that we are collectively integrated together as a whole, we can't create divisiveness among others. We can't other others. And I have a quote a quote that I wrote in 2014 in the first article I ever published when I was getting my PhD. And I talked about how the mechanism of othering is the reason that people try and maintain control over other people's bodies. And I was talking about reproductive justice, but that can be applied to almost anything. When we forget that we are integrated together as a whole, because we are the stars, we are the earth, we are woven of this incredible fabric of life, we are living beings on this planet, then it doesn't seem so strange that it's 10 minutes after the hour for everybody around the world, because we are all so interrelated and connected. And the way we disrupt this narrative that those people are bad and those people are good is that we start to think about that interrelatedness. And yes, there are some people on the fringes that we will never, ever, ever get along with. We just won't. There's the extremes even exist in nature, among the rest of the kingdoms, the plant kingdoms, all the kingdoms. But when we think about, most of us are swimming around here in the mucky middle, just trying to figure it all out. And when we connect to ourselves and we connect to our spirit and we connect to our source, then what happens is we start to understand that there's a whole bunch of us up at 3 a.m. having the best ideas ever, because that actually is when the good ideas come. Mm-hmm. But like, if you look at the stars at night, you realize that you are part of a collective whole, and also that you are infinitesimal. And that's so powerful and so beautiful. And that means that when you pay attention to the smallest things, they add up. In our house, we call them small victories, because my husband's a veteran. So we call them small victories in our house. But it's the little things that add up to the big things. And I've learned this, especially at this time. I don't know if you're watching it live or you're going to watch it later, but I had my knee replaced 4 weeks ago. And the people who have come together to help our family, it's just been extraordinary. This mishmash of humanity that I've collected over the years, that's coming together to support us from all over the world. Like, we're getting DoorDash gift certificates from Sweden. And how rad is that? Like, how awesome is it that because of these teachings of the Graceful Revolution in particular, but also because I have created this community out of the work I did to love myself, to create a space where other people could come together and love me. It's extraordinary. It makes me cry. It's amazing. And that's what I want more people to be able to do.
Usually you chime in right now, Kevin.
Well,
I mean, I'm just going to say, I just love Dr. Bird so much. And I am so grateful that we know her and that we can help more people know her. And she's just the most beautiful soul. And I can't believe we get to bask in her glory and her glow.
Well, thanks.
And I knew that if I asked you a question like that, I could wind you up and get you go. See, all I got to do is wind you up and away you go.
It's true.
She's windable.
This is like, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Holly.
I was going to say, this also seems like a perfect moment to ask about your podcast, because the name of your podcast definitely has that same theme. So in your bio, the name of your podcast is the Thinnest Veil Podcast.
Yeah. So I love my podcast. I'm on a little break right now, obviously, because I had surgery. But the Thinnest Veil, I created the Thinnest Veil because I wanted to create a space where we could come together to talk about spirituality, religion, magic, witchcraft. I'm a Christian witch, so I love to talk about the intersections of paganism and witchcraft and magic, and praying is spelling and spelling is praying. But I also wanted to create a space where people could come together to really explore these ideas, and to really think about what it means to think about spirituality and religion in a way that isn't divisive. Because I think right now, I did not come to Christianity willingly. I grew up in Utah as like a queer, part Native American, like feminist. Like, it's not like I was, going to church every Sunday. And growing up in Utah was complicated and it was hard because we weren't LDS. And so I didn't come to it willingly. And so I wanted to create a space where other people could think about God and spirit and the universe and all of these complicated things that become politicized in a way that is open and accepting and almost affectionate is the word that I think about, like to be able to think about these ideas, especially right now, like the rise of Christian nationalism, the rise of this rhetoric, this anti-religious rhetoric, which I could very have easily fallen into 20 years ago, no problem. But somehow, some way, I walked into an Episcopal church 6 years ago, mostly because my daughter begged and pleaded for us to go to church. And I did not expect at all. I thought we'd go once and that would be it. And I'd look at Caitlin and say, forget it, I'm never going back. And I went back every Sunday and cried, snot coming out of my nose, like sobbing, mess, total mess. And every Sunday I would go back and have that same experience. And it is so profound. It's so profound when you can have that experience. Some people don't have it in church. Some people have it in the forest. Some people have it at the ocean. Some people have it in the Safeway. I don't know where they have that. But when we're open to the possibility of connection in that way, it's just incredible. And so I wanted to create a podcast in a space where I could talk about my ideas, where I could give people permission to know that you don't have to just be one thing. You can be many things. We can be the entirety of our beautiful beingness. We don't have to just go to church on Sunday. We don't have to just practice magic and witchcraft in a certain way, which, by the way, the gatekeeping around magic and witchcraft right now, it really frustrates me because it pulls us away from what our spirit and our intuition is telling us about what that is and what that looks like. And it's just profound to me. And I want people to be able to explore that without fear. And I say this, no one is more surprised than me that a year later, I was asked to start preaching at the pulpit. Like nobody is more surprised than me. Oh, I got a thumbs up. Nice. No one is more surprised than me that has been my journey. And it's not everybody's journey, but I want to give people permission to have that be their journey because I get to get up there and say things from this incredible feminist, native, pagan experience at a Christian pulpit. And that's incredible. And still preach the word of Jesus on Sundays. It's amazing. It's so amazing that this is the life that I get to live. And I just wanted to create this podcast so other people could have permission to explore religion and spirituality in a way that wasn't judgmental.
And Dr. Bird, if I could be so bold, first of all, a Christian witch is a conflict in terms all by itself.
Yep.
In many places, but I'm willing to, and tell me if I'm right or wrong in this. It isn't the building. It isn't necessarily the religious practices. It's the people within that building.
It absolutely is. Yes. And to find a space where the building can be the place if you want it to be the place. That those places actually really do exist in the world, even though we've been told 1,000 times we don't have access to them. And they are there and they can be created. And sometimes they're not a building. Sometimes they are the forest. Sometimes they are a collective gathering of human beings together. Sometimes it's just us alone. But the connection to something greater than we are is something that I think we're craving and we're missing.
And the Passionistas, the sisterhood, is a great place for people to find that and then to branch out from that. Because Dr. Bird, there are people that would love to have what you have found, but they don't know where to look. They don't know how to get there. Yeah. And if you can help them find a way, yeah. And that's what the sisterhood does, I think, even though I'm not a sister and I'm not a hood, but I'm not allowed, but you guys are. And that's what I get. That's every time you guys come on, the people that you bring with you are just extraordinary human beings. And I think it's wonderful. And I really would like to congratulate Nancy and Amy for having the forethought and the vision to put all of this together, and Holly to bring these ladies here so that we can listen to Dr. Bird. I like that.
Well, we're
Well,
grateful for both of you. We really are.
likewise, it is so amazing to be in the same virtual room with each of you. I think there's probably a lot of people out there that are wondering what they need to Google to try to get connected. And so the Passionistas is the best way to find the sisterhood. They have a whole tab for it. And if you're just listening, if this is just audio for you, it's THE for the Passionistas, which is the hard one. The tongue twister for Kevin is PASSIONISTAS Project PROJECT.com. And then you can look for the tabs for the sisterhood there.
Yeah, and through the sisterhood, you can find Dr. Bird, but also Dr. Bird, what's your? I don't want to say it wrong. What your website is?
Oh, it's drmelissabird.com. So DRMELISSABIRD.com.
And I just want to say, Kevin, I really
/ positive talk to that URL that Holly just gave out, the Passionistasproject.com / positive talk. There's a page right there for Positive Talk listeners, and you get a discount on the membership fee.
You guys are so generous with that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We also have a scholarship program for women that can't afford to join. You know, it's really important to us that women from all communities are represented. You know, it's beautiful to us that Dr. Bird brings her unique experience and perspective. We also have women from the disability community, the LGBT, you know, obviously Dr. Bird also represents the LGBTQ community, but, you know, we have Latina women, we have Black women, we have a great DEI class that's going to be happening later this year. But we don't want anyone to feel like they can't be a part of it just because they can't afford it. So we have a scholarship program for anyone that buys an annual membership. We give away a scholarship, but we don't want anyone to ever feel like they can't partake of something as fantastic as what Dr. Bird has to offer just because they don't have the money. So they can also find information on our website on how to apply for a scholarship if they can't afford to join.
That's amazing. That's you guys are just good humans. You know that? You really are.
Our mother taught us well. Well, it's all thanks to Betty. And to meeting people like all of you who just make us want to keep doing it. And, you know, like Dr. Bird said, I mean, we are blessed that we started this podcast 8 years ago thinking we were going to do what we always do and interview people, and we'd talk to them and then we'd never see them again, because that's what happens when you interview celebrities. But as we started interviewing women, we realized, like, oh, that woman is our friend now. And we talked to her again and we hung out, and we've actually never met any of you in person, but we consider you all dear friends now because we're always in touch and you mean so much to us. And all of a sudden we found we had this amazing support team, you know, like the women from Sweden who send the gift cards when Dr. Bird's knee replacement. We have people in Australia and France and Canada and South America. I just realized today we have a member from Colombia. So we have women from all over the world that are showing up for us and for each other. And we don't want to stop until we've reached as many people as we can. So that's why we're here.
Well, there's over 4 billion of you, so you got a ways to go, I'm afraid.
Yep.
Amy and Nancy, I thought you would think this is cute. So my significant other, when I was re-listening to the show afterward, he's like, you know, there's military in Antarctica. If they're serious about being in Antarctica, we know people in the military that can probably tell us how to send the show to Antarctica.
Do it. You tell him we're on board.
I was like, they're going to have to hear. That was so cute. He was very fired up about it.
Tell him we appreciate it and we'll take him up on that.
Well, here's a good point to ask again about the 3 pillars with the sisterhood. And then also that could lead into how they overlap with the 8 dimensions of wellness for Dr. Bird.
Excellent. Well, yeah, our 3 pillars, when we started talking about doing the sisterhood and looking into what other communities out there are doing, we realized that so many communities for women are about business. And while that is a big component of what we do, because so many of the women in our community are entrepreneurs, um, we feel like you can't have a successful business without the personal growth necessary to build that business and without the social impact and the idea of giving back. So those are our 3 pillars: business development, personal growth, and social impact. So everything we do revolves around those ideas. The classes all come together in those topics, and we just really feel like that makes the full journey, as opposed to just, here's what you do to have a better LinkedIn account and how do you get more customers and things like that. We're really trying to get beyond those constructs that so many of these women's groups have. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but we just wanted to make ours something a little bigger and a little more impactful.
How to plus it up. Yeah. Yeah. Because you can throw a Zoom stone into the internet and hit the business ones like that. But having it tie into something bigger like that is actually unique. That's really cool.
Mhm.
Well, with the COVID thing going on and with the loneliness that people are feeling, because the world, I think, has changed a little bit since COVID, and a lot of people, they lost their community and they really haven't gotten it back. And a lot of people are really, really, really desperate for that and in need of community. It's like Dr. Bird, you were so emotional talking about the group of people that you found in a particular church that means so much to you, that then you mean so much to them that they want to put you in front of everybody. That is really a cool thing, and that is, I think, everybody's going like, I want what she's got.
I mean, yeah. I think it's so interesting what happens when you are open to what's next. So when you're very present and focused in exactly what's happening, on Monday, April 15th, 2024, 2:38 p.m. Pacific, when you're right here and you're present in this minute, then the question isn't how do I or what do I? The question is, I wonder what will happen if I, whatever it is, right? I wonder what's going to come next. I wonder what's going to happen next. One of my favorite rituals in the morning, when I'm just, not right now because I'm not sleeping very good because of my knee, but usually when I wake up in the morning, is right as I'm coming back into my body and I'm just becoming aware of my room and everything that's happening with my partner, my dogs, and all the things. And I'm just barely waking up. I think to myself, I wonder what's going to happen today. I don't start going through my list of crap I've got to do. I don't start going through, are the kids up? Are they not up? What's going on? What am I going to have to, I don't do that. I very intentionally think to myself, I wonder what's going to happen today. Because we have a structure to our day. But if we allow for those little moments, those small little moments of things that creep in, then we allow for all of the magic and wisdom we're supposed to gain that day to come in as well. And when we don't think somehow this is messed up, here's a really great live and in-person example at this moment. So there's this woman from church who I love and adore, who texted me this morning and said, hey, I want to come and meet your mom because my mom's taking care of me this week. And I want to come and meet your mom. And I said, okay, well, I have this radio interview from 2 to 3, and then we're going to be home after that. Well, guess who came at 2? Phyllis came at 2. And I'm sitting, and now the old Missy Bird would be like, oh my gosh, I screwed that up. I hope Phyllis isn't mad at me. I really wanted to see her. What am I going to do? How can I speed along this interview? Like there is a part of me that would have done all those things 10 years ago. But this girl is like, oh my God, that's so cool. My mom gets to hang out with Phyllis for like an hour, which is gonna be really great. And that is letting it go. That's going, okay, well, my day's gonna work out this way. And this is what's gonna happen today. And there's nothing I can do about it. And there's so much beauty in that, and so much joy in that, and so much when we allow ourselves to just let it flow and be very present to what's happening. The things that happen are so much more miraculous than we ever could have dreamed if we start to notice those little things. There's a house across the street from me that has a wisteria vine that grows over the garage, and then it has a dogwood in the yard, a pink dogwood. And when they start coming together, it's ridiculous how beautiful it is. And I just, every morning I wake up and look out the window and go, oh my gosh, there's more pink and there's more purple and it's amazing and I love it. And I just want to invite all of us to just do more of that. Just start to look up, look at what is in front of us, and look at the miraculousness of whatever that is. And Holly, you asked me earlier about the 8 dimensions in wellness, the book that I was a part of called Women Connected in Wisdom, Stories and Resources, rooted in the 8 dimensions of wellness. And I have a chapter in that book that's about environmental wellness, that tells a story of how my husband and I started a retreat space, an aquaculture farm called the Mermaid's Garden, which we still do not have land for because we have run into a system of barriers that has just been, I mean, racism, sexism, ageism, ableism, you name it, we have run into it to try and get land to start this beautiful space, which is regenerative and sustainable and lovely. And I was so honored to do that, that chapter in that book, which is really the brainchild of Christine Gautreau and Shannon Mitchell, who also have a beautiful podcast called Women Connected in Wisdom. Oh my gosh, they'd be such a great guest for y'all, all your podcasts, all y'all. So good. But the thing that I love so much about this idea of the 8 dimensions of wellness is it gives us the opportunity to look at our lives through environmental wellness, physical wellness, emotional wellness, all these different dimensions of wellness in a way that helps us remember that we are this bounty of experience, that we are not just our emotions and we are not just our physical body, that we are connected in this really incredible, beautiful way. And when we give ourselves permission to just be present in this moment, and when we give ourselves permission to wake up in the morning and go, I wonder what's going to happen today, then every day when we go to sleep is a new adventure. And it's a great reminder to me as I'm saying this to you, like, okay, Bird, like, stop complaining about the fact that you have not slept since, I don't know, for a month. Start thinking about the amazingness that is this body part that is shifting and changing and teaching you all of these incredible things. Because I've been saying my foundation is wobbly, like my knees are bone on bone, they're a mess. And how can I be operating in the world if my foundation is wobbly and unstable? And one of the things that I realized is that I'm getting this surgery and I have the ability to get this surgery. Like, how is that? I have the ability to get this surgery so that my foundation is stable and I can stand on stages and talk for an hour without having to sit down. And that is a miracle. Like, that's going to be, y'all better watch out, because next year I'm going to be all over the place on all the stages on fire because my knees will work and they won't hurt anymore. It's amazing. It's amazing. Life is amazing. Y'all, this adventure, like, look, there's 5 of us hanging out in a room and we've never actually sat in the same place with each other. And that is bananas. And I love it.
It does feel like you're next door or like in the living room here.
Yeah, totally.
What I really like about what you guys are doing is you can take someone like Dr. Bird and she's good. You just wind her up and she can go for a long time. But then when you get to know her at a much deeper, more fundamental level, you understand that it hasn't always been cupcakes and roses, that she's gone through a period of time that she's had to go through a lot of the things that we all have. Yeah. And she's come out with this beautiful philosophy and this wonderful way of being. And every day is an adventure. I believe that. I know that. This is an adventure of a lifetime for me to be talking to the 4 of you now.
Isn't that amazing? Like it's so incredible. And the people that are coming together in this sisterhood that Amy and Nancy have created, like some of them are people that I know. I've never actually met them in person, but I know them through the interwebs and the magic of the internet. And like, but like this thing that y'all are creating, it's bananas to me. Like looking at these people from all over the world, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool that I get to be a part of this. And oh, by the way, I get to talk about my anxiety and the things that make me nervous and the things that bring me joy and the things that turn me on and make me so excited I am exploding all over the place. Like it's such an incredible space to share all of the things. I love it.
Well, it was really important to us when we were choosing the founding Power Passionistas that the women were relatable and that they were living real lives. They weren't people who had like private islands and jets that, you know, like, oh yeah, it'd be amazing to have my own island someday. They're women who are living their lives. Their lives aren't perfect, but they're working every day to make their lives better, to make everybody else's lives better. And so they're relatable and they're not afraid. They're not acting like they're perfect. And just because they've been branded the experts. And so it makes you feel like you can do these things. You can take the class and you can achieve the goal. You can learn and you can fail and it's okay. And you can do it in a place where people are failing right beside you or succeeding, or, you know, you're cheering them on or you're helping them get over the struggle. And it's all okay. It doesn't have to look perfect because it's never perfect. And so we're so grateful to women like Dr. Bird who are just here walking among us, being vulnerable and not acting like there's something they're not. And it's that imperfection that to me makes Dr. Bird so powerful, because she's never made me feel. She will be the first person to say to me, you know, you're doing that thing. Like, ooh, you know, I've cried many times talking to Dr. Bird, and it's been very good. It's the best kind of cry. And I learn something every time, and I never feel judged. I don't feel like, oh, she just called me out on that because she thinks I'm bad or I'm doing something wrong. She's trying to help me see the you know, the thing that I need to get past. And
something so important, Amy, that I do not want people who are listening to this to miss. And it is this. I definitely have led a life. Like I have led a very imperfect life. And I will tell you, when I first started my business 7 years ago, I tried to be somebody I was not. I tried to do the sales funnel and the website and the blah, 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 and the yada, yada. What the hell? Like that was not me at all. And I tried and I failed. And I can't take those years back, but I can honestly say that the minute I just said to myself, okay, who are you, girl? At your very, who are you? You are raw. You are hilarious. You are a healer. You are a helper. You care about this planet and this world and your children and the lives of other people. And you are a total metalhead. Like I still listen to Metallica and drive my Camaro like it's 1992 and I am in the thick of it. And that is just how I am. And everyone in Corvallis knows who I am because of that, which is awesome and amazing and rad. And like, but like when I was trying to fit into that box of life coach and all that other, no offense to life coaches, but that is not who I am. And the minute I started just admitting who I am in the entirety of all these forms, it goes back to what we were saying at the very beginning of this. I am all of these things. I am both and. We are not either or. We are both and we are this culmination of life that is so incredible. And when we allow ourselves to express that, we find our people. We find the people we are meant to help and connect with and love with. And it's phenomenal.
Well, you're celebrating who you are. You recognize who you are and you're celebrating it in all of its facets, in all of the humanness that you have. but you have a Camaro, is that right?
I do. I have a Camaro, a really beautiful convertible
I
Camaro.
want
with
a
a license
Camaro.
plate that says-
I want a 1972 Camaro. Yeah.
What does your license plate say?
Yes,
What is your license plate, Missy?
Dr. Bird.
Oh, it says Dr. Bird.
Mine, Dr. Bird.
It's a vanity plate that says Dr. Bird.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh yeah.
awesome.
And everybody in town knows her, and that is just awesome. And that
Yes. Oh,
you're, you're standing up for yourself, and you're doing the right things, and that's a lesson
But it's
for
about
all.
that human. Yes, Kevin, it's about that human beingness. We are humans being.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
And we have turned so many people onto Dr. Bird, and people, when you first meet people and you're like, I wonder if they would be into like the tarot card thing. They seem kind of conservative, or they seem a little bit more like scientific or straight and narrow path kind of people. And then they'll say something and we'll be like, you need to meet Dr. Melissa Bird. And every single one of them comes back and is like, oh my God, I talked to Dr. Bird. And they have this mind-blowing experience, which we have experienced ourselves on many occasions with Dr. Bird. And once Dr. Bird who figured out who she was and loved that part and left the other stuff behind her, there isn't a person we've introduced Dr. Bird to that doesn't fall madly in love with her. She's undeniable.
It's super rad.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
There are good people, amazing people that exist in the world, and like now our audience is meeting 3 more.
Mm-hmm.
It's you guys are really, really something, and you're working to make our world a better place, and you're doing it for each other, with each other, because of each other, and that is so cool.
Can I ask one more question? I want to squeeze one in before we run out of time. So the bio, in your bio, Dr. Bird, it had that you were the descendant of, and then I don't want to mispronounce it. I want to learn how to pronounce the band.
Awesome.
How do you pronounce all that?
I am a descendant of the Shipwits band of Paiutes.
I would have got it right.
You would have got right? Yeah, in what is now known as southern Utah and northern Arizona. Yep.
Kevin, you have a question.
No, I was.
Oh, you look like you were like seriously.
Well, no, it's like, so you're a Paiute?
Yep.
That is so cool. I just love the diversity that is contained within that little body of yours, because you've got so many things, and you grew up in Utah, for heaven's sakes.
I know. And look, I made it out okay. No, I'm just kidding. I miss Utah. I honestly, if they had more water so I could have a fish farm in Utah, I would go back home in a heartbeat. You know what I miss is those aspen trees in the fall. Just the forest in Utah is if you've never been in Utah in the fall to see those quaking aspens turn, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous sight to behold.
And I just want to throw this in there. If you have the opportunity to drive from Denver to Tucson and go through the eastern part of Utah, it is spectacular with all the trees, but also the rocks and the different colors and the different shapes, and it is remarkable. So
it truly is. It's the most beautiful place on earth as far as I'm concerned. Don't tell anyone in Oregon I said that.
Well, Oregon is a pretty cool place itself too.
It is. Yeah.
There's some, and Ashland, Oregon, there's a lot of really cool people down there too. Yeah. When I just interviewed Neil Donald Walsh just the other day. So and he wrote Conversations with God, and he's down there. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
In any event, it's okay. We're running out of time. Holly, take us home, and we've got 4 minutes, so we can go in turn. Why don't we have each of you give our audience a piece of your own individual wisdoms, and let's start. We'll go. I know last time it was alphabetical order. This time we'll go in reverse alphabetical order. So
wait, that means I have to follow Dr. Bird.
That's exactly right.
So I go first?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I just want to say I don't know how anyone could have listened to this last hour and the magic of Dr. Melissa Bird and not be heading over to our website right now to join to take this class. So once again, it is the Passionistas Project /Positive Talk. You can join the sisterhood there, sign up for the course that starts next Monday, the 22nd, and you will not be sorry. Thank you.
I mean, that is so
my
true. Thanks, Nancy. I love you. There's two things I want to say. The first one is one of the quotes that has carried me throughout my lifetime is from Eleanor Roosevelt. And it is all about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Like, own that you're scared and do it anyway. And the other is be still and know. When you breathe into your body and you become still, you start to hear things and tune into things that you never thought were possible. And I just want to encourage everyone to just be still and know.
That's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And the other one's empowering. Like, that's so nice to have like something so beautiful and deep and meaningful right next to something so powerful. Kevin, I couldn't tell if you wanted me to go in this round or not, or if you wanted to
please go.
First of all, Holly, I just got to say thank you very much for putting this all together. You've done an outstanding job, and you know what I think of you, and you can talk anytime you want to, because you're going to anyway.
You think I'm worth putting up with?
Now, Dr. Bird, I want you to educate Miss Holly on the terminology is everything, and nobody's putting up with her. She is.
No, listen, here is the deal. Language is everything. The word you say, you are casting a spell. Nobody is putting up with you. You are an honorable, valuable, beautiful being on this planet, and you deserve to talk to yourself that way.
Oh, thank you. Perfect timing on the button. The button.
I know that was the best.
Well, for everyone listening, if we're saying a piece of like wisdom each, mine would probably be to never stop like putting yourself in the mindset of being a student of experiences and of the world. So never stop trying to find something that is so interesting and exciting for you that you want to read about it, and you want to go find all the information you possibly can on something, because that helps keep your brain and your spirit and all of you engaged in life and the world. So that would be the one I could offer today as a cookie.
Beautiful.
Nice cookie.
A good cookie. I think I would just say, I love Dr. Bird's morning ritual, which I am now going to incorporate into my life. And I think the thing that helps me live in the moment and not worry, let the monkey mind go crazy, which it tends to do, is knowing that my sisters, my real sisters and my chosen sisters always have my back, and they're not going to let me I may fail, but they're not going to let me fall. And so find those people that have your back, so that it helps alleviate some of that stress that we all face in the world every day. The reality is we can say we're living in the moment and we can try and practice that, but those things creep into our heads. And if you surround yourself with the people who really love and support you, then it makes it easier to live the adventure.
Perfect. And I just have to say this, because living your adventure is your God-given birthright, and you live an adventure every day. You wake up and be excited about who you are. And I got to tell you, I love doing this podcast because I just had a gal. She just gave us a big heart, and I met her 60 years ago. I haven't seen her in 40 years, and she shows up here on the podcast and gives us a great big heart. It makes my heart all warm and squishy. So I'd like to thank each of you for coming here. Dr. Bird, I'm not going to let you get away without promising to come back on Positive Talk again.
Anytime. You can have me anytime.
Very nice. And ladies, we're going to see you in 2 weeks, aren't we?
Yes. I think
And
so.
any idea who we're going, which Power of Passionistas coming?
Yep. Nan?
We are bringing on Miss Kylie Stone, who is from Australia. And she is a transformational leadership coach, and she kicks ass. And her course is the one that follows Dr. Bird's course. So we just keep the hits coming.
So in Australia, do they really kick donkeys?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to ask her.
Sorry, that was a really lousy joke. But ladies, again, thank you so much for being here. And Dr. Bird, you are phenomenal. I just gotta say.
Thank you.
And thank you all. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin@kmmedia.pro.